event today with 4 of our recent graduates from the photography and film BA courses. So basically, it's part of a What Comes Next series, which features recent graduates from select courses. So groups of students hear from people who've literally been in their shoes and studied the courses that they're currently studying, gone into employment since then. So my name's Hayden. I'm part of the Alumni team. I manage a small part of the office there. I'm covering for Ochi Reyes, one of the photography lecturers who was due to chair the panel, but sadly she's had childcare issues last minute. I think it's half term. So you're stuck with me, but I did actually study at Westminster myself, MA Film. I don't think I told the panel this because I didn't expect to be doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I studied MA Film part-time while working at Westminster full-time in the alumni team, graduated in 2016, and I do some screenwriting on the side. It's a bit of a side hustle. So I'll introduce the panel shortly. And the way it's going to work is we're going to do a panel discussion, so I'll put some questions to them for about 45 minutes or so. We've got a Mentimeter poll. I'll get up on the screen in a second when the guys are introducing themselves, the code and the website where you can basically put an anonymous question if you don't want to raise your hand during the Q&A. Got a couple of the panelists will do a little bit just before the Q&A, show a bit of their portfolio, a bit of their work, and then we've got a networking refreshments session which will be not in here but literally just outside into the forum on the left. You can't really miss it when you go out. So you can have a bite to eat, a drink, and speak to the graduates one-to-one if you so wish. So I'll let the panel introduce themselves. So basically just your names, what you're studying, and what you're doing at the moment, starting. You, Elena.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure meeting you. I apologize, I'm slightly ill, so let me know if you can't hear me because I can't hear myself. Thank you.
Sorry.
I graduated in 2018 and I study photography. And since then, I've been running my own photography business that I co-founded with somebody who I was studying with. And yeah, we're specializing in portraits, food, and lifestyle photography. And I'm also a studio assistant as well, as a freelance.
Hello, I'm Angelique. Also, my real name is Angelica, it's just my art name. And I graduated actually just 3 years ago. It was 2021, just after the pandemic. And I studied filmmaking here, so Film BA and Block, which is always nice to come back to. And I did a few things. I started working just after graduation in a production company. We were creating all the social medias for Disney, Marvel, 007, and I was there behind the scenes videographer. Then I went freelance, and after a while, a bit actually, I found my co-founder, and now we run Lens. It's a creative and digital marketing agency specializing in cinematic content and digital marketing campaigns.
Hello, I'm Anouk, and I just graduated in July, so I'm a 2023 cohort in the film BA as well. And I'm a radio director, but I also work as a sound trainee on HGTV, so like high-end television shows. And yeah, that's it.
Hello, my name is Jack, and I graduated not recently really, it's in 2017, so less recent. And I actually did a photographic arts course, which I know is now photography. And last year I co-founded a business with my wife, actually, a photography business where we do like event photography, portrait photography, and like film premieres. And before that we were both photographers, like freelance, and now we've gone to like a limited company. Yeah.
Perfect. So I sort of jumped the gun a bit and forgot to say that we're doing filming and photography for the film and photography event. This is Elijah, current student, some of you probably know him. If you don't want to be photographed or filmed, I should have said right at the beginning, just let him know and he'll do his thing and edit you out, not from life. And yeah, basically, I think we can just go straight into the panel questions. Maybe starting with you, Elena. What was your experience at Westminster like as a student? And did Westminster help or not, be honest, figure out what direction you wanted to go in? And if it did, how?
Right, so my experience at Westminster, I believe, is a bit different from the majority because I was doing the course part-time. So I did it in 4 years instead of 3 because I was also working full-time. I had to pay for my bills, so that's how it was. Certainly, it helped me figure out what I want to do because, like, just sharing experience with other people and hearing from, for example, people who left university and what they were doing helped me see possibilities, helped me understand what I could have done afterwards. But at the same time, I think it was the second year when somebody came to talk to us about her experience, and that's when I decided that I wanted to do something more pragmatic, and started thinking exactly what I wanted to do, and that's when I decided that I wanted to have my own business, and started working towards that goal. The co-founder of my business partner is somebody who have studied with me. So it was during this session that she came up to me and said, why don't we join forces and create something bigger than just being a photographer? And that's where we started.
So I don't think I would be where I am at in my career if I didn't go to university, and it's for a specific fact. I'm not a British citizen, not yet. So I will soon become, but I come from Italy, and I think that the market is. You need to know someone to enter, and it's not fair. And in university, one of the most beautiful things that I learned is that if you have a talent, people will spot it sooner or later, and you need to use your unique powers to be able to, highlight it in a sense, and be sure that someone will recognize it. And it's also university. I don't think that is for everyone. I know a lot of people that are super talented. They just went to work, and that is another pathway. But I think university, in a sense, is an opportunity. And where it's a privilege, I think, to have a study and have a direction where you are 18 and you need to choose where to go, and sometimes you don't know, and you have the time here to experiment, to try so many different things. And I'm so much grateful for University of Westminster. That on that day, I still remember the emotion of being accepted among so many people. But also, I think 3 years is a lot of time if you think about it. But then they just go away in a glimpse. And I would say, as a suggestion for you, to experiment as much. And also, yes, your tutors will tell you, oh, there is this job, this other job, or this other career opportunity. But look at how the world is reshaping itself and how many jobs there are out there. But also think about what you like most. And there are also unconventional ways to create what you really want to be, or the career of your dreams. So yeah, I love university, and still I think after it's my 3rd year out of university, and still I'm going to networking events and so much on. I got foundings through the We Network team for my company. It's called Elevate, and there are so many opportunities, honestly, and I think Westminster is one of the best universities that are in London for this kind of opportunities. So yeah.
I think I'm quite similar with Angelica and Elena in the sense of I'm not from the UK either, and I wouldn't be able to be here if I hadn't gone to university. I think it's a really good time to just build your portfolio and actually have the time to do things, to do your projects, because I realized when you come out of uni, you don't have that time because you have to work and do full-time work and earn money and stuff. So it's a good time for that. It's a good time to meet people, network, and yeah, I mean, I did use like the opportunities that the university gave us. So like the mentorship program was, I think it's called like that. Yeah, it was really useful to get some contacts in the world of film and TV, I mean, specifically. But also, I already knew what I wanted to do before uni, so it didn't really help me in that sense. I would even say that it didn't show me all the ways there is to like get into the industry. I had to like find that out by myself. So yeah, I would say like it was a good thing to do, but it could have been better in that sense.
For me, university, I found it very difficult because I found that I wasn't like a really kind of academic person, and I found that through uni, and I don't think I took like advantage of as much as I could have done in terms of the facilities and maybe mentorship programs and things like that. So I'm an example of someone like that, perhaps. But I think the thing that the university did really well for me was my course in particular at the time. I had really good lecturers like David Campany and Eugenie Schinkel and those kinds of people who were like really great writers in photography and things like that. And although I didn't maybe harness a lot of practical skills after leaving uni, the creative side of it really informed my practice in more practical jobs. Like even in my event photography, which sometimes can seem quite standard, I think it helps me to look at those areas differently and maybe offer different things. And it has informed like the creative work that I do that's overarching all of the kind of more business side of photography things that I do. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. So after university, I became straight a behind-the-scenes videographer, which is something that we had some talks, but it was more stills photographer, if you know who they are and what they do, but not behind the scenes, because also it's super niche as a job. Although my first job, I was lucky because my tutor, my manager from the company was a university student here at Westminster, and she was asking around for people to apply for this job, and out of my course we applied I think in 5 people or something, plus the competition outside, and I managed to get through the various steps of the job. But also it was me thinking about what do I want to do next when I go out. Third year was more working outside than like inside the university, also because it was COVID time, so I had the time to experiment outside. And I was like, oh, what would I like? What did I like from these 3 years? I was like, okay, documentary, that's what I like most, and having the camera in my hands. What they tell you, especially as a film student, is that you need to like start from the basics, so as a runner, and then go up. Yes, it is a way, but also consider all the other ways. You could become a content creator and have your own style, and then explode on TikTok like that. For me, it was like showing that I was able to use a camera to understand lighting, thanks to working to uni and external projects, and then leverage on more my portfolio to get the job. And then I started from zero again inside this creative agency, but at the same time, as I said, like you know that you know what you're good at, leverage on that, and then you will build all the skills with the time.
Oh, brilliant, thanks so much. There's a lot in there. So I should have said also at the beginning, in the post-event email that you'll all get, and everyone else in the course who isn't here today, lots of info on certain things, like you mentioned, Angelique, the WE Network, Westminster Enterprise Network. I'm sure some of you have heard of them. I know Elijah certainly has. He's a big idea winner. But the mentoring program, there's an array of programs that the sister team that I work with, our mentoring team, run, which are excellent. Most of the mentors, I think about 80% are graduates. So yeah, there'll be loads of info in the post-event email. So do check that out. So next question's a bit different, maybe a bit more real, let's say, but what were your worries in terms of employment opportunities coming out of your degree versus your actual experiences?
Right, so I have to be honest, when I left university, I wasn't feeling very confident on the practical side. So I was worried that somebody would have knocked at my door after graduating and be like, here's a job for you, show me what you can do. And I was not ready for it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I was expecting literally people to, open their doors for you, but there is a lot of work that you have to do to reach out to these people. And the fact that I started my own business helped me to reach these people and reach out to these people and also get experience and learn the practical side that I felt I didn't get at uni. So my suggestion is to practice as much as you like. It depends what you're gonna do and what you want to do. But I feel that I didn't use the facilities that we had here as much as I should have. So as a suggestion, go in the studio, shoot as much as you can. And yeah, practice a lot. Obviously you're doing your own projects and that's great, you're building your portfolio, but there is so much out there, there are so many people out there who wants to do what you want to do, that you want to feel that you have a strong base, and certainly Westminster is great, and I feel that I could have done more on the practical side. So yeah, I feel that my expectation on finding opportunities when I left university, I thought there would be more out there, but there are opportunities, but you need to do a lot of work to get there. So yeah.
So I think for me, I kind of got in a different path. I was already working while at university, and I was using all the equipment possible from M-Block. I think the tech guys, if I go there, they still recognize me. And actually, at the end of third year, Hassan told me, Angelica, I never saw a student like you. You are the first student that took out the most equipment out of these 3 years. So it's, we pay a lot for university, So make that money worth, first of all. Use the facilities, but also, yes, the projects at university are important, but I think the most important thing is what you do outside. Because when you go outside, they are like, okay, was this a university project or was it your own project? So there is a difference already there. And as we said, experiment, use the facilities as much as you can. And something that I saw that no one did, or I think maybe someone is doing now, connect as much with people from other courses, because what usually students tend to do is having their own bubble, staying in their course, but then what is the competition? Competition is the same people that are in your same course. If you space around, you experiment with people from other courses, you might find someone that is going to be the next Ed Sheeran in another course, or someone that is going to be the next big designer. And that's how you have connected. Inside the university, you have connected and created a network. Then, if not, you need to do on LinkedIn when you go out. Okay, so talking about what I was expecting from these 3 years is learning as much as I can, becoming a professional, and so much so forth. And it's something that you do, but also I think when you go out, being realistic, you are never ready with the landscape, and it's changing every year. Even now as an entrepreneur, it's changing, so you need to find your unique style, your unique tone of voice for your agency or your brand or your person as a freelancer. And I think sometimes your tutors will tell you, oh, it's beautiful and stuff like that, but let's not forget that the same people that are tutors now, they have left the industry maybe 5 years ago, unless they're quite fresh. And we need to be realistic with that, and I'm saying, and we are here to talk about that. So it's good to go to networking events outside and understand how the landscape is at the current moment, and then your tutors will help you to understand other things attached to that as well. But yeah, it's no rainbows. It's all about understanding the situation and making your own path outside and understanding where you want to go. It's not easy, but it's also if you really like what you do, I think there is a universal law that is called law of attraction, and it will take you where you want to go. But first of all, you need to work on yourself and who you really are to understand where you want to go in the future.
Yeah, so when I came out of uni, I was really scared I wouldn't get a job, especially because I wanted to do something creative like writing, directing, and stuff like that. And obviously, there's very few places for that kind of jobs, let's say, especially when you just come out of uni. So I went through the route of like getting other jobs in the industry, which there weren't many either. So it was a bit of a egg and chicken situation. Especially since it was like during the strikes and everything. But I did get onto like the Student Skills Trainee Finder scheme before I finished graduating, so I was a bit less scared, I guess. And that's how I got like my first jobs in the industry. But I do think that like it's very hard, like if you want to do something creative, to like balance like the rent and the life and like the money with what you actually want to do. So I still don't really have an answer, but I'd say like try like to craft your own plan before you finish uni, because otherwise then it'll hit you like it did for me kind of after, and then you're like, oh, actually how am I going to get to that point that I actually want to be in, and not get stuck in another job, or like, yeah, get stuck like bartending full time because you have to pay your bills, but then you don't get time to do what you actually want to do. So yeah, do it before and try to maybe get, like Angelica did, like a job before you finish, so that you have at least a bit of stability, yeah, before you go into life.
Yeah, that definitely really resonates with me as well. For me, like in my last kind of my second and third year of uni, I was image processing for like a property marketing company, so just basically retouching images, but just thousands and thousands of properties. Very like monotonous, but also like it was just something connected to photography, so that was really good, and that was like a part-time thing for me. And then when I left uni, I continued to do that, and my worries were that I'd be continuing to do that for a long time. I'd be working in property, which it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do at the time. But then my expectations were more that I had more time on my hands, and after doing the course, I felt a lot more confident in myself as a photographer and an expert in the field kind of thing, like just kind of having that degree behind me and the experience. Yeah, since then it's just been a case of kind of I would say like try and do something as close to the thing you want to do. So for example, for me, I want to make like photo books and, you know, hold exhibitions and always work creatively and do editorials and things like this. But I knew for myself that would be quite difficult to get into quite early on. So what I've tried to do is try and do things that are related to that as much as possible, whether it's assisting in a studio, whether it's editing property stills. I later went on to photographing the properties and stuff like that, whether it's assisting artists, or it could be anything, but there's always like some connection, and I think that helps meet your expectations more, and then you can kind of build from there. But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Also, sorry, I would like to add, don't feel overwhelmed by this, like that you need to have everything figured out before you leave university, because there is so much, I know I said this already, but there is so much out there. Then while you are in the field, you will then learn what you like and what you don't like. You might think that you want to do a certain kind of photography, and then you start doing it on an everyday basis, and you realize that that's not what you like. So don't think that you need to leave and have everything planned already. But if you can, like think about what makes you happy, and start already with a part-time or like an internship, that will certainly help you figure out things much sooner.
Can I add to that? So, okay, start to experiment and also risk a lot, because I think we want, as a person and a lot of people I talk with, you want to be stable when you want or not want to have a family. So it's like after 28 and stuff like that. University, you have a lot of time here, so time to be risky is outside with your friends and things like that. But also when you have like, if you have a full-time job, try to do stuff in Saturdays and Sundays. And also by trying things out, you will understand what you don't like. And you might have things that don't go well, and then you learn from these things, and that puts you forward. I would say also like, yes, figure out, but also you figure out while you go. Have a kind of a roadmap, and also like, I think in the creative industry, the people always tell you, oh, you want to become a director of photography, so do this, this and that. Understand what skills you need to become that director of photography or that designer, that photographer, because you might be surprised that there will be a lot of photographers that have the same skills, but then if you went out and you know business, for example, which is super important, because when you become a freelancer, you need to have this business mindset, and that when you want to open a photography studio, you need to have it. So you might have be a photographer that does not have like a lot of skills maybe in lighting, but you know business. And how many jobs you can get if you know how to market yourself rather than how to do lighting. It's something that you will learn, especially with time, and you can always get like gaffers to do it for you and stuff like that. So try to have skills that your competitors don't have in the market. And that's how you progress and you create a unique value proposition for yourself, I think. And how you distinguish yourself, especially in this market that is becoming more overcrowded every day.
Fantastic. So much in there. Lots of insight and honest answers, which is great. So the next question, it might sound like a bit of an obvious answer in some ways, but how important was building a portfolio while at Westminster? And I might add to that, why? Because I'm guessing it is important for everyone in these types of industries and courses. And would you recommend continuing the portfolio building after you've graduated? And again, perhaps why would you, if the answer is yes?
Right, so obviously your work is visual work, so whenever you're gonna apply for a job, they're gonna ask you to show your portfolio. So if you don't have one, then obviously they don't know what to expect from you. So it's absolutely important to build your portfolio sooner rather than later. I didn't have the opportunity to go and do an internship, but I think it's something that I will highly suggest if you can. If you have the opportunity, if you don't have to pay bills for now, you can spare 6 months or a year to work as an intern. Sometimes it's paid, so it's great if it's paid. But that will give you the possibility to meet people, to build your network, to build your experience, again, to see what you like and what you don't like, if it's a field that it's like for you. And you see how other people work and all of that. So yes, if you want to take a bit of time, I mean, I didn't take time to do an internship because I couldn't, but I took time to go traveling. So I suggest you also to do that in case you can. I've been away for 3 months, still with photography in mind. So I went and came back with a project, filming and stills. Obviously traveling for me is a big thing in life, so if you can do that. But yeah, build your portfolio, have something to show, and after you leave university, try to do as much experience as possible. Somebody asked me what I think about free work. I think it's great if you get something back. Obviously, it's your time that you are giving, so you can give as much time as you like. But if you gain experience from it, if you gain like connection, then do as much free work as you like. That will help you also build more of your portfolio. I still do sometimes free work because sometimes I want to work with a specific person who didn't ask me to take a picture, but I think she or he can be a great addition to my portfolio. So I just ask that person to take some videos or some pictures. So yeah, very important to build your portfolio.
You know now that because of my portfolio, I got my first job, and it was a quite big job, I would say, and I stayed in that position for a year and a half. Also, I remind you, build your portfolio not just at university, but with outside jobs, either with friends or just asking to work for free, which is a good entry key. There will be a time in your life where you are okay, I'm not going to work for free anymore because my skills are more than expected, and I need to be giving back with like, you know, money for my time and my skill set, which is very important. Although it's an entry card in a lot of industries, I think, working for free. I did it a lot at uni, and it's fantastic because, like, yes, people expect you to be there, but you can also not be the best at what you are doing. You are there to learn. But I think I came to the UK and to Westminster with a goal in mind, going out and having a job, and luckily I had that. Also, from first year, I started to do internships that were 1 month long, and how I structured it was, okay, first year you try everything in the course, and then find something outside. Of course, it's not gonna be the most exciting job. It might be not, because for people that want to hire you, even as an intern, you don't have that much skills. But still, they want you for your time, right? And what you can give to that industry, that place, that agency. Second year was even more focused into cameras and lighting. So I was like, okay, let's think about it. What should I do in order to go to third year, understanding what job I like, what job I didn't like. I ended up working for a news company in Italy for a month. Not paid, but at least I went out and I finished that internship knowing I don't want to be a camera operator for the news, I don't like it. Third year, I used a lot of my time, because it was still COVID time, to go outside. I started to work for Warner Bros. As a camera trainee, handling batteries, cables, and stuff like that. And did I like it? Did I not like it? I found out that I wanted to have the camera in my hands, first thing first, when I was going out. So building a portfolio outside, and then I was helping first year students and just making connections. I was telling her that yesterday something on my Instagram popped out, and I did not remember the film, but then I looked at the people that were tagged, and it was a film that I helped in 3 years ago as a focus puller, and now is on the short list for a BFI Flair Film Festival, and it's crazy, and yeah, it's good memory for of course, and yes, this portfolio at the end, collect everything you can in every role, but then build a website, because that's how people see your skills and where you want to be, what you want to be in the future, and where you want to go. And it's a way to like put in order your work and understand what is going to help you to find the right job. That if you want to be, I don't know, a director, you might want to have more directing jobs, or if you want to be camera, or if you want to be a photographer in one niche, you want to have that especially. Because I think what students tend to do is putting everything together, and you don't know where they want to be, because employees outside there, employers, want to help you, but they want to know who you are and who you want to become. And that's how you make yourself known, to have a portfolio and a website, I think. And then like all the social medias that are here to help us.
Yeah, I think it really depends what you want to do. So if you want to become like a camera trainee or a sound trainee or art trainee, like you don't need a portfolio. It's all going to be about like learning on set. It's more like about your motivation and like maybe your CV, so yeah, free work helps. If you want to do something creative, then yeah, you definitely need a portfolio. Like, but think about like which industry you want to get into. So if you want to go into TV, it's different than going into film. If you want to do commercials, very different as well. So yeah, if you want to direct, go do lots of things and put together a short reel or something. If you want to write, think about you want to write for like soaps, or then write spec scripts about like British shows like Emmerdale or whatever. Just yeah, building like a portfolio is always like useful if you want to do like creative stuff. Just like I think it's important to know like what you want to tailor it for, because yeah, there's no use of having like things from another industry if you tailor it basically to what you want to do.
Yeah, very important at uni, very important afterwards. I would say some like good ways of building a portfolio. For money, I would say like working with smaller agencies, like photographic agencies to begin with, because they will be hiring, like clients will be hiring those agencies based off the whole agency's work sometimes, unless it's like a small like boutique, like fashion agency. Usually it's they're just employing a photographer based on a wider portfolio of work, if that makes sense. So you don't have to worry about your individual work too much, and then through that you can do smaller jobs that help build it. And then in terms of working for free, what I would suggest is some ways. What I've done. If you're looking at fashion, for example, Fashion Week can be like a really great way to build your work. So if you can do like street style work, you can do backstage stuff if you can get access, and you can do kind of front row stuff. And also through that, if you're working, which you can speak to me afterwards if you want, about if you're working through a press agency, you can then sell those images, and then hopefully they'll be bought by newspapers and things like that. So that's a way of making money off something that initially feels like you're doing it for free. And then, what was the other one? Model testing can be a really good thing. So modeling agencies will want updated photos of their models. So if you want to do like a portrait photographer, that can be a really good way of doing it, because you're doing it for free and you're working with someone, and you can collaborate with like a makeup artist or a stylist, and that can all come together. And that can be a really daunting thing to kind of pull together, I've found, but it's good to talk to people about that. And then I would say also, just to add on, is like always get your portfolio checked. Like keep getting it checked by people like photographers that you like. Reach out to them, get them to review your portfolio. Always get people checking it like all the time, because you might have you're kind of living in your head and you don't know how things should be set out and stuff like that. So make sure you reach out to people, and yeah, you just continue doing that even after uni. Like always come back to it, like every month, every year, always updating it, because you might change what you're doing. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Perfect, thanks very much. So the next question is similar, but it's about networking. So how important do you think networking is for your career, and how do you network well from your experiences?
Right, so from my experience, networking is one of the main way through, I get work through my networking, basically my network. So make sure you start networking now through your peers, but also there are so many events. You're in London, so you're lucky enough to have always events where you can meet other photographers, other filmmakers, producers, because obviously you're going to work with a lot of producers, business owners, small business owners, just meet up with people, talk about you, talk about what you want to do, be on sites that can be useful for that. So LinkedIn is very good for that. There are websites like The Dots where you can get a lot of collaborations. So I think networking is really important. It comes from a place from somebody who is not very good at talking to many people. In fact, it's quite weird for me to be on the inside talking to you guys.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah,
Very
okay,
good.
But yeah, unfortunately, as I was saying, yeah, you can be an amazing artist, yeah, you can be great at your job, but the competition is very high out there. So nobody's gonna come to you, knocking at your door, be like, there you go, this is a great opportunity. You need to be out there, you need to put yourself out there in many ways, and build connections from out.
So I think that networking for me is everything. And I say it from probably a comfortable position, because I'm quite an extrovert person, but I wasn't. I think I became with experience, with the possibility of going to a new country and saying, okay, now I really want to become the person that I want to be. And networking is everything. Why? Because now you are networking with your peers in your course. You can go out and network with people from other courses. But then all the time that there is an expert coming in, ask for the email, connect with them on the LinkedIn, because you can see where they are at, where they will be going. And as soon as you grow as well, it's people just shoot them a message on Instagram, on LinkedIn. People are happy to reply because they see you and they see themselves, how they were at university or maybe 18 years old, 19. And even nowadays that I just went to a fashion show the other day, and it's like starting from zero. You don't know the person you have in front of you. So if you can find, let's say, warm people, because you've met them before, they know your face, they know your name, who you are, you've been in contact with them, it's always easier to reach out, rather than like going to a festival and see a panelist and say your name. They are like, who are you, right? But it's always try different ways to connect. It can be through social media, it can be at a personal level, like later on, please connect with me. I would love to know about your stories. But it's always better to, handshake who you are, what you're passionate about. And also I think number one rule of networking, don't expect anything from the other person, because they're not there to give you a job or to give you an opportunity. They just want to have in front of them nice people they can have a nice chat with. And then you start building a relationship from there. But never expect something from the person in front of you. And that's how you literally you lose that connection. They might unfollow you because you might be pushy, or they are like, what can I do? And it's like, there are different ways to network, I think, different ways to even become friends. I became friends with so many other panelists that were here while I was at uni, but it was just about time, and then like you showcasing your skills and what you're passionate about, and then they can, as I was saying, leverage you because they see themselves in what you're doing. And I mean, it's a very big part of the job. Even now with the agency, getting jobs through friends that I met at crazy places in London. It might not have been networking events, but then they became my friends or very good people that I know, and they still come back. Oh, Angelica, I know about a videography job. Do you want to come? I'm like, let's have a call. And just through these connections, it might be their cousin. We got our first big multinational job back in September because of a person that I was dancing salsa with in Liverpool Street, which is crazy. And that guy became my friend, and it was her cousin that was in this big corporate, and then like he knew me, and that's how we got like this very good job for the agency. So I mean, networking I think is everything. It's everything from when you start university, if not even before, to after, to even when you have a stable job, because that might be the way that you get into the industry. Ask to your employer to like give you half an hour to just go out of work before going to an event, because they can say, okay, she's going or he's going, they is going to a networking event that might leverage my company, and that's how you convince them I'll pay you the ticket, or I'll pay you for this course, and then you meet so many other people that might be in your same situation, and they want to help you and maybe give you new opportunities one day.
Yeah, networking is good. It's really daunting. Like I can be a very awkward person, so for me it was really hard. Like at the beginning, it still is a lot sometimes. But it's super important, and I think like it's kind of like jumping into like a pool of cold water sometimes, and you kind of have to do it. I think for me it was like the film industry is like very white and male, and unfortunately, so I think for me also networking was very good to like find communities and find people who like people of color, women, and people who want to like make the same kind of content as me, or like build communities, build support systems as well. And I think the best networking events I went to in London were like BAFTA Guru, BFI Future is coming up, which is really good as well, because it's specifically for like young filmmakers. If you're interested in commercials, like the APA does events for like underrepresented people, which are also really good, because then you can actually connect with production companies, which may or may not be interested in you, or things like that. You can always like ask for feedback on your short reel CV and things like that.
Yeah, for me, like when I first started thinking about the idea of networking, it seemed like a very like corporate, quite cold term. It sounds super exciting when you first hear it, but I think it can just kind of be something that's always there when you're on a job or you're in a place, or like if you're at private view, it's something that's always in the the back of your mind kind of thing, that you are always open to, like, ready to kind of talk about yourself and talk about your work and things like that. So it can kind of come out in lots of different scenarios, again, like private views and jobs and things like, for example, a lot of the work that I get will be that I'll be on a job and I will meet someone that might be not completely related to what I'm doing, and they are looking for something different, and then I'll get work out of that. Also, again, like I was saying before about reaching out to photographers can be a great way of networking, because they can give you a lot of advice and they might need assistance and things like that, so reaching out. But yeah.
Great. And make sure you take advantage of the networking opportunity straight after this, of course, the Q&A. Personally, I've had to do a lot of networking both in my job and trying to kind of get into the film industry as well. And I used to find it terrifying. So I always went with someone, and then or like more than one person, and I ended up just talking to my mate or mates and not really mingling. So what I've learned is if I do that, to sort of break off, which sounds terrifying, or even go on my own, which again, terrifying to begin with, but yeah, it does get easier, I think. I think in the interest of time, I always put too many questions in, which is a bit ironic as a wannabe scriptwriter, but basically, I think before the Q&A and before you share a couple of your bits, what top pieces of advice do you all have for students in the room and who will watch the recording navigating their careers? So what basically are your three, if you've got three, main takeaways?
Right, number one, start sooner rather than later. I've said this before, but it's just like, I feel that sometimes I look back, and I have this thing with time where I always feel that I don't do enough, might be me, but always like do more than what you think it's enough. Because one day you're gonna leave university and you will be pleased if you have already a bit of experience, portfolio, or like networking, a network. So start sooner rather than later. Even if it's terrifying, as you were saying, in terms of networking or jobs opportunities, just do it. The worst thing is that job goes wrong, or somebody says no, or they just don't connect with you. But I've got this experience. I remember the first time that somebody referred me for a job. It was like portraits, taking some pictures for an artist. And I was terrified because I didn't have enough experience, because I knew the person who suggested me, so I didn't want to let them down. He was paid. So it was just like, I was not ready for it. But I had to say yes. And that ended up being my first publication in a magazine. Even if the pictures were not like great, it wasn't what I would do now, but still, you never know where things can go. So just, even if it's really scary, just show up and do it, because yes. And third, don't get stuck in the idea of just being a photographer. I mean, yes, you're studying photography or filming, and you might want to be a photographer, a filmmaker, a director, but the business is so broad, and there are so many jobs opportunities out there that you might find yourself that you are better as a producer, or you're better as as a video editor, or there are so many different jobs that it's not just like, when I was at uni, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a photographer, I want to be a photographer, and that's what I'm gonna do. And I think I missed out opportunities because I was so stuck in my idea. So just keep your mind open, like you should in everything in life, and just be open to anything.
Yeah, I second that. I would say be aware of the current trends your industry is in, and I think a lot of for creatives right now is AI, start now to understand how it works, what are the best practice for it, how to use not only ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not AI. It's like it's Midjourney, it's DALL-E. There are so many softwares that you can implement, and when you go out of university, you will be an AI professional in photography, AI professional in filmmaking, and that's how you will distinguish yourself and your skills, rather than all the other filmmakers in the field, or the other photographers, or whatever job you want to do. That is one big thing that we are leveraging through the agency as well. And second thing, don't be afraid to risk it all, because it's now and it will be when you go out the time to try it. And like, don't be afraid of your mistakes. I make so many mistakes in my professional career, but I look back and I'm like, I'm grateful for that mistakes, because they took me exactly where I am right now. And I'm still not afraid, even if there are clients and money, because no one is perfect. No, I don't know a single human that is perfect that did not make mistakes during their own career. And some of that mistakes were key for where they are now, which is super important. And third, understand that being at university is an opportunity. Someone is paying for you, or you will be paying back the government. And yeah, understand that every single person that is surrounding you is an opportunity. You might not see it right now. They might become someone in the next 5 years and maybe the next year. I actually have to mention that a guy from the other course, Giorgio Biotto, is being nominated, has won an Oscar for Best Student Documentary, and now has been nominated for the Oscars, and he's 24. And it's crazy. And you see, like, it's just building your network right now at university, understanding that even if you don't see a person that talented now, it doesn't mean that it's not gonna flourish. And yeah, that are my 3 pieces of advice for you.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, this is gonna sound cheesy, but like, try to not stop creating if you want to do something creative, because it can be so hard to like get sucked into like your full-time job, and then you only have the weekend, and then it's like, oh, but I'm also a social person, I want to go out, but also you have to write. Yeah, it's so hard to like balance that. So I'd say try to, if you want to do that, like really do it so that you can like foster your voice and like create your style and stuff. Second thing I'd say is like, be nice, because it's such a gossipy industry that if you're gonna be like unprofessional on even if it's like a small project or do something that's actually mean, everybody's gonna know it, and then, well, you kind of, because everyone's gonna talk about it, and yeah, everybody knows each other. It's a really like small industry. And I forgot my third one. Yeah, sorry.
I'd say probably the most important thing is like looking after your mental health, because I think if you're if you're starting your own business or you're freelancing, at the beginning you're probably going to be on your own, and a lot of my reference points are friends and family who work full time. So they're always working in the week, and then they've got the weekend off, and then they've got their holidays and things like that. Whereas my schedule is a lot different, and there are days where I won't be doing something, and you have to remember that that day is either for like your admin or you just take the day off, kind of thing. So that's one thing. And what else? My mind's gone blank. So that, and also similar to your point, kind of just being humble when you're working, and just, even though you really want to go for it, you want to be the best, you're like competitive and all the rest of it, just remembering in like certain environments just to be humble and like be aware of what you're capable of, and kind of slowly build, kind of thing. And then the other thing is, like, once you find out what you really enjoy doing, let's say you get a job that pays well, then, and you're happy with that pay and you really enjoyed the job, at that point, when you get a few of those, just keep going for it, like just keep going, like, because you know that you can do that job, and you know you can get the right amount of money to keep you going. So once you've proven that to yourself, then like that's a really good base point for you to continue. Obviously keep like changing what you're doing and stuff like that. But yeah, those would be my 3 things. And then if you remember, that's fine.
Wonderful.
I think just a second.
Oh, sure.
This is very important
Yeah.
because we are in a digital age and we see TikTokers booming from one day to the other, and it's not like that. You can be lucky, but under that TikToks, that creatives, that videos, that films, there is an idea and it might be successful. Look at I don't know, people like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates and stuff like that. Like they might have tried 100,000 ideas and then they got the one that made that successful. Is that it's so difficult for us to see what they did before becoming successful. You just look at where they are at, right? So do never compare yourself with someone that blew out on social accounts or it's already famous. Try to study what they did before. How do they became who they are today? So it's all about perseverance and having a goal and just waking up and looking at it and saying, okay, everything is as well, step by step, I will get there. I will fail, I will succeed, but there is where I want to go, and that will help you, I think, as well in life, not only with a career.
Brilliant. Such great advice, insight and honesty. It's not the end, but a big round of applause for the panel for being so great. So a couple of the panelists will now just show some of their work, then we'll have a Q&A. We'll take this down so they can show you their stuff, but I'll put this back on so you can see the Menti code should you want that. If not, just put your hand up. But yeah, let's go and show some work.
Alright, so my business partner is here as well, that's Sophia, and we do mainly commercial work. So you will see we do portraits, food. We started with food photography, product. That's us.
You can show.
Right. So yes. So we started working with restaurants, and we do a lot of like personal branding. She's a coach, for example. We do artistic portraits. This is another artist. This was in our trip in Asia. A lot of like lifestyle, products, and food. So we have case studies. Well, let's say our work. Maybe I can show you a bit of portraits. So here are our portraits. But you can have a look. So we do things for magazines, for like writers, models, bands, things like that. This is us. We do a lot of we can show you a lot of case studies. Again, we do a lot of like corporate headshots. This is to pay bills. Not something that is really enjoyable, but sometimes can be fun. We get to travel a lot. For example, this company has a lot of offices around Europe, so they send us to their offices to take corporate headshots. This one was, I don't know if you are like into cycling. We went to this beautiful island in Lanzarote to take pictures of the athlete for their branding. So yeah, this is us. This is me, Sophia. This is a very old picture. Don't forget about that picture. We're gonna take a new one. But yeah, this is us. If you want to have, if you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very nice portfolio.
Oh, thank you.
I can see a lot of work in it. Very nice. Okay. I'm the creative and co-founder of Lens. And Lens is a creative and digital marketing agency. So my mission was the same as when I started freelancing, and it has always been the same since I started studying. I love what I can tell you a little bit more about my story is that when I was at uni the last year or during COVID, it was like the TikTok booming and everyone was downloading it. And I started studying how the new algorithm was working. And on Instagram, I had it for I don't know how many years. And I got so passionate about social medias. Anyways, my mission now is still helping my clients brand stories to stand out with powerful visual storytelling, which is handcrafted for social media platform. And that's what we do on the creative side of the agency. My story, so these are some of the works and the films and events I've worked on. And the majority of these were when I worked for the agency. There's a few jobs when I started freelancing, and there is, as I said to you, no pathway to go where you want to go. But for sure, if you want a secure job, go to agencies, because I wouldn't have all this array of clients if I didn't work for that agency for a year and a half. And it taught me a lot, especially being young and being surrounded by famous people and red carpets, celebrities and stuff like that. And also understand that not everyone is nice. Don't take it in the seriously as well, because it's people, and people have days where they don't feel well, and they might not be concentrating, or oh, have another person in front of me, I need to behave nicely. But then you might notice that oh, it's an actor, I cannot say anything back, because if not, I'm gonna get fired. So it's all about understanding the environment you are in, understanding how to behave in that environment, but also, as we said, being nice to people, because that's how people will suggest you for the next job, and how it will be, getting better and better. But I just had like a few not nice people in front of me during my career, but it's how you learn. So these are some of the brands I work for, some of the brands we work still in the agency, and we focus on creating cinematic content and social media strategies, and before we tailor onto digital marketing campaigns, which is a broader spectrum. These are some of my works in the agency, and also as a freelancer with Mario Bonvoy. And so, as we said before, another big thing, don't think to become just a photographer or just director, because you will find that you are more passionate about some niches than others. And for me, it was social media content and short form content. And our formula is creating cinematic content and uniting that with digital marketing expertise. And the ambition for Lens, that we just started last summer and registered in September, is to innovate by combining cinematic content and powerful ad-based marketing in order to drive up our clients' brand sales. We want to unite the best freelancers in every sector and create a team that is able to fulfill our company mission. And in fact, we want to become the go-to creative and digital marketing agency for multinational and high-end luxury brands. And it is big, but I think when you have a vision, you have a goal, what it takes is time and the right people in the team to fulfill that vision. And so, thank you so much. It feels that it was a pitch. If you want to connect with me, please feel free to connect on LinkedIn or Instagram. And if you scan that, you can know more about the QR code about the company. Thank you so much.
Big thanks. Very, very impressive, both of you. So, we can move to the Q&A now. I'll leave that up for a second, so if anyone wants to scan, and I can put it back, and I'll put the Mentimeter code back on as well. But does anyone in the room have any questions for the panel? Yeah.
My name is Eugene. I'm first year BA student. And my question is, what kind of access students have for the equipment during summer? Because I'm planning to work during summer, and obviously I don't have money for all this expensive equipment. So,
I think it has changed since last time I was here, but during the summer, the whole university, I think, maybe not the library, but they shut down because people need to go on vacation, and especially academics have longer periods of times. But I think until the first week of June, maybe the second, you can ask us or the technicians until when you can book out. Sometimes if they know that you can, like have it bring it back and that is clean and everything, they might give it to you for the summer. I'm not sure. Like, as I said, networking is key, being nice with people, and these people will trust you, so they will even extra lend equipment for you. But also, like, if you know your peers and they have a camera, just ask them, because it's always nice to share and things like that. But as I said, I'm not sure how things are now at university. You know?
I feel like I should know, but I hardly ever work at Harrow. I'm in Wells Street, the boring corporate office, or working from home. Yeah, Hassan, the guy on the counter, you might have spoken to before, can probably clarify. But yeah, I'm sure you can borrow things over the summer, but maybe it's somewhat restricted compared to term time.
What about library, other like aided students?
Yeah, I know the library just stays open. The hours change because when it's term time, it's not so frequent. But yeah, they stay open.
Also for film students, but I think it's the same for photographers. I remember going on workshops at Panavision or Green Light, and it's all places where they rent kit. And if you are a student, they understand that you want to try new things, and you just shoot them an email. I'm a student, I really would like to try this new camera and stuff like that. Can I come? And they're always open. They will literally like give you 2 hours of their time to show you what they have, and it's all in their interest, because eventually they can hire you one day if you keep in touch, and in your interest as well, because it's networking and trying the latest technological equipment. Yeah.
Sorry, do you mean the camera companies?
Yeah, rental houses, lighting, everything, photography studios. Like just go ask to go there for like a day. They might say no, but like some will say yes, and there you have the opportunity.
Any other questions in the room? Yes.
Yeah, any advice on like dealing with basically the idea of the imposter syndrome, fear of not being good enough, and all of that? Kind of like, yeah, just kind of any advice on that?
It's funny that I got the microphone straight away. Yeah, fine. Yes, a lot of that, especially because I make the mistake of comparing myself all the time with other people, especially big names, because I never look at people who are less than me. I always want to, I reach something more. So the network that we were talking about with your peers, or people who are doing the same things that you are doing, can be very helpful, especially for that, because then you're going to share experiences with people who are going through the same. I'm lucky because I have a co-founder, and obviously when something goes wrong or when I'm down, I share my experience with her and we just talk about it. But we had moments where we needed somebody external, so a business coach, or like somebody who can just see things from a different perspective and help you literally like go through certain moments, because literally, especially if you are a freelancer, it's tricky, because I know that I'm not that kind of person who like to have a Monday to Friday job. I'm not. I did it in the past, I might have to do it in the future, I don't know, but the freedom that I get by being a freelancer, it's something that I would always want to have. But obviously then you deal with money. There are certain months where there's there's nothing coming in, or you need to deal with money differently. So it's all those are all things that you learn while you are a freelancer. You don't really think about these things beforehand. And those moments can be really overwhelming, especially if you're far from home, especially if you're young, especially if you're somebody who is not an extrovert and just needs to talk to somebody. So yeah, don't be afraid of sharing what goes into your mind with somebody else, because sometimes I'm so like I see everything black, and then I need that person who says, okay, just reset, and see how far you've come, see what you've done, see how much work you have done. Don't just give up just now. But yeah, you're gonna have these moments, I promise you.
Yeah, absolutely. We all have now, and still, I think even very successful people they still have, because it's tricky what goes up in your mind. Imposter syndrome is something that all creatives have, but I think it expands beyond the creative industries. It's counterintuitive with what I'm saying, but I would say be careful with what you watch on social medias. Literally set times on social medias, because that's how you compare yourself. You see a video, it's a person of your same age or just a little bit older, and they are successful. Okay, why I'm not that person? Why did I do? What should I do? And also, I think by referring to other people, it's okay to have role models, absolutely, but don't forget that you are your own person with your own uniqueness, your own unique characteristics, your own unique role. And if you start comparing yourself with others, you might find yourself that you did what your parents say, which is not nice, because then you wake up at 40 and oh, I'm screwed. I just dedicated my last 20 years in studying something that it was for my parents, not really for me. Analyze how your family is and the input they're giving you. That is very big for me as well, I would say. Then have friends or peers that can back you up. Like always being open with sharing, but also if you can, find the right mentor for you, because there is nothing like a person that doesn't know you, but that they know you just because from like, I don't know, from work perspective, that you can just be free to share things. And I think one last thing that I'm so grateful about being in the UK is mental health, because here people are so much more open about it. If I go back to my country, it's still like, oh, why do you need a psychologist and stuff like that. And it's like, you never know. It's you have ups and downs, and I did never had a psychologist, but it was more of a how do you say, a coach for me to understand that if that job was the right for me, and when was the time to like say no. And I did the 1 year and a half in that agency, but then things were going well in a case, but then like I wasn't scaling with my skills, and I saw that they were restricting me into that department. They didn't want me to understand about the business and stuff like that, which was what I was missing, and that's why I started again as a freelancer. So it's just like having someone to back you up and to be open to share like their experience and your experience as well. So social media, peers, and never be afraid to ask for help as well.
I think maybe get used to like hearing no. I think like rejection therapy can be useful. Never done it, but I really want to, because you're gonna get so many like negative responses in like, especially as a like film person. You're gonna apply to like funding like programs and things, like you're gonna apply to like 30 and maybe get 0 or get 1. So I feel like for me, like if I manage to like not take it personally, or like think about like, okay, maybe it's not the right time for me, or like maybe there were people who were better at that time for that program or that funding, it helps, and not to think like, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough. Just thinking it's like a marathon and not a sprint. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's true. And it's about like the people who are gonna like give up first, and you're not gonna, because that's really your passion, and that's what you're gonna do, like if it takes 20 years or 30 years. I think that's for me.
Obviously brief, because I feel like you guys have pretty much covered everything there, but I think for me, especially like my family and friends, especially before you, there's no connection to like photography or necessary creative things. So it's hard to see yourself in a creative space, because it's hard to relate to around you. So there's that aspect. But I think it can be overcome by kind of, I don't want to say proving to yourself, but it's taking baby steps and building your confidence, rather than kind of going straight for something and then being rejected, and then you're going to fall a lot farther than if you're taking smaller steps and then getting accepted. You kind of just want to keep getting accepted, or take a small rejection, rather than like take lots of big rejections at the beginning, if that makes sense. So just take it slow and kind of, I don't have much more to say.
Great. got a question that's come through on Menti. How exactly did you find your jobs? Did you send CVs to companies and your portfolios, or was it through connections? I know a lot of you have your own companies and work for yourselves, but perhaps before that point, if there was a point post-graduation.
Well, for me, it was from the Screen Skills Training Finder program that got me my first jobs, and then now I'm slowly being called by the people I work with, because, yeah, but otherwise I haven't had many jobs.
So, like I said earlier, I was already working like editing images, and then through that I got to shoot the images. So a lot of the times it's been through kind of assisting or editing or doing like a small part of a bigger job, and then eventually doing it, and then building the relationships on those jobs. So you might not necessarily want to be an assistant or be an editor, but sometimes it can be good to start in those places and then kind of build from there. So that could be a good way. And also just like cold emails, try and make them like as direct as possible and target the right people. There's so many things. So there's like the dots we mentioned, like the Arts Council for looking for jobs. There's like Facebook pages for photographers. There's loads of them. I can share those. There's like one called Assisting Work on Instagram. Some of you may have seen. It could be like a brilliant way. Like just make sure you're kind of checking the latest ones on that, because otherwise they'll be taken. Just on that, whilst I'm talking about that, a good thing to remember is that a lot of stuff that you see on like Indeed and .com and stuff like that, sometimes there might be a job that isn't necessarily desirable because they've had to put it in a space where a lot of people are going to see it. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's one of my ways of seeing it. And also, like, try and look at jobs that have been up for like less than a week, because you look at LinkedIn, when people apply for jobs, it'll say like 1,000 people applied if you look at it like too late. So I think you've got to keep your eyes on it. Also, yeah, if you've got like a specific brand you want to work with, reach out to them first, because then when they're trying to find people, they'll remember you emailed and you're kind of in their head first. So kind of reach out directly to brands rather than kind of like spending hours on like job sites and stuff like that. Just try and be like more direct when you can be.
So, as you know, I got my first job because I had a portfolio, and I applied, and we had 2 rounds of interviews, and then like some other cover letters and things like that. Before that, I actually got my first job at university through WeNetwork, which is fantastic, honestly, and I kept working with them, even like photographing like these events, or like just doing videos and things like that. So university is a good way to start building, and then when you go out, you can always keep reaching out to these people that employed you even through university. Yes, these websites are very interesting, though there are so many people on them, and then try to have an application ready and then just send it. Although if it's a job that you are 80% sure at least that you might get it, try to reach for the people inside that company and make yourself known. It's all about networking. They know your name and they know that you have an aspiration. They might do something in the background to like make that application seen. And yeah, I think even WhatsApp groups, and even in WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups, there are like so many photographers, videographers, even their network. I think it's all about networking, how you get a job, while you know that person. And I mean, like, again, when I went freelance after the agency, I had to start from zero, although I had already some contacts, but it's trying things out. Don't be afraid to like, if you don't like something, don't be afraid to try something new. There might be new applications in the future, who knows, and try different things and find the ways something is working for you and then replicate.
Yeah, so I got my job as a studio assistant with my CV, but just because I think I reached out directly to the studios. Because as they were saying, like sometimes an application, literally in an hour, they get like 1,000 CVs. which is crazy, and the person who is recruiting is gonna probably look at like 10 or 15 of them. But it's also true that like a girl who used to work with me did an application and somebody reached out to her 6 months later. So you really never know. What you should be thinking is to try to stand out somehow. So by reaching them directly, pick up the phone. Sometimes it's a suggestion that people tell me, and I'm really not very keen into even answering the phone. But people say, you know, now you just send emails, but it's so cold. Sometimes you just need to literally call the agency or call the studio and just talk to somebody. Or go to events, meet people in person, and you never know where that can land. But yeah, have a CV, of course, because every job application you do, they're gonna ask you for your portfolio, your CV, and hopefully it's gonna finish soon, but everyone is asking for a cover letter, which takes ages, because they want to know why you wanna work for them. So yeah, have all these things ready for when you leave.
Perfect. And
Last thing, which is super important, and I don't even know that if your tutors tell you this, have a business card always ready, even if you are not specialized yet. Just like have it to handle it to people, so they know. They might remember, they might not who you are, but still there is your email address, your social media links written there, and one day they might wake up and see it as like, oh, who's that person? And then they might reach you out because they don't remember, but they have it, and it's super important. It's like a girl having her nails done is the same. It's like the presentation of your business, because the first thing you see, like even networking, is the hand. People shake it, yeah, right? It's like, you see, like I see it, but thank you. You see, and it's fantastic. I think even like it's crazy. I need to print mine and the agency hours again. But I started to think, oh, I don't want to print on paper for the environment and stuff. And you go to film industries and they're quite digital. But then I went to a fashion event and were like, oh, where is your business card? I was like, oh, this is my business card. But then even there, they save it and they don't remember your name or the contact. So it's always better to have a physical card.
great. And there's a lot of help that's offered by the Careers Employability Service here. So even up to 3 years after you graduate. So tailored CV, help, interview prep, all that sort of thing. I'll put some info in the post-event email, because it is difficult, especially in these industries, to try and get it right. But there is help. Running out of time, but is there any last question in the room? We've got one more I can go to on here. Yeah?
You're all creatives, but at the same time you're all business owners. What helped you to develop your business mindset, or your natural?
Should I start? That's a very interesting question, honestly. And you never have it right. You never start, and even people that do business, they study a lot on books, and then they tell them, okay, start from a company, not create your own, because it might be more tricky. So I have a co-founder, and he's more the CEO, so it's more on him, the business mindset and everything. But he's teaching me a lot, and it has always been something that I wanted to learn. But even at university, it's difficult to they empower you somehow, but then you need to do something to really acquire the skills, right? So it's all about understanding that even when you go out, you need to contract, you need to have a sales call maybe with an agency to have you hired. Even that is business, no? Understanding how to present yourself and stuff like that. And it all starts from the little things to then being aware that as a freelancer, you are running your own business. And it might be represented by your brand or your own person, but even there, you are a business person, you are contracting with other people, you are showing yourself and stuff like that. Now, as an agency, I am so grateful that I have Tom on board as a co-founder, and he had the previous companies, so we built together everything, but I'm taking in the agency my unique skill set, and he's taking his. So it's all about understanding that it's something that you grow, and with time, and just need to be patient. And I think a lot is also about where are the best resources you can get. yes, you might be able to pay a person, but the YouTube honestly is the Bible. It's like you have everything there. Just even Instagram or TikTok, follow the right channels, and then don't just like scroll, but get into that topic, understand where it comes from. And there are, I think, like, you know, there are thousands of books, but understand the 5 that you need to study and underline and start from there. And yeah, that's the best advice I can give you.
I don't have a business, but I did the Startup 101 from We Network the year I graduated, which was really good, because it was really like the basics of how to build a business and like finances, which I don't understand anything about, especially when you're not from the UK. Like HMRC and stuff is like a nightmare. So they kind of like also help you like understand that, like how you file the taxes and stuff.
I think 2 things. First thing is going to sound a bit iffy, but it's kind of like, for me, the business side of it is quite creative, especially when you're doing your own branding and marketing, and you're kind of creating this kind of platform for yourself to go out and create. So I find that I like the process of it in that sense. But that being said, the actual practicalities of it, like for example, when we started a limited company, that was an absolute mind fuck, I'll say. It's really hard, but you know, you can find things on YouTube and things like that, and I think you should have some understanding of those things, but at the same time, it's important to know when to like employ someone to do it, or get an accountant to look over. Definitely get an accountant to look over it if you're working freelance and doing that, especially if you're a limited company. And just looking to other people to help you with those things if you don't have the capacity. But I do think it's still like important to have some understanding of it yourself, and that can be through YouTube again, and like things you have, courses you have in uni, and the things you mentioned with the We Network thing, I think you mentioned, and all of those things, just take advantage of it. But yeah.
I never really thought about having a business. It just came, and then started working on it, and it's a journey. So even if you don't have a business with 10 people, as a freelancer, as Angelica was saying, you are your own business. So you will have to think about many things that are business related, but there is so much free help out there. So you just literally need to like check for networking event where it's very business based. There are a lot of courses. I wouldn't say lucky, but I had COVID in between, so I took that free time where I was working for a company, but obviously I didn't have to be there, so I had a lot of free time that I dedicated to my business, and that's where I did a lot of courses and learned a lot about like accounting and marketing and this and that, because there is so much. But also because we are creative people, you can't know everything. You can't do everything by yourself. So yes, you can, but it's going to reach a limit where you need somebody who is specialized in that to help you out. Obviously, there are people who are lucky and have the money to do so, and people who have to just literally start from scratch, as we did, which is, I think, slower. But yeah, there is a lot of help out there. You just need to look for it, and yeah, you'll find it.
Wonderful, and that was actually remarkably similar to the question I had in here. So yeah, we could wrap up the Q&A there. A massive thanks again to the wonderful panel.